Hey, what's up? Zach here, and today I've got the all-new Air Jordan 11 Cherry Red. Here we go. And I was able to purchase these as an early release pair. These are factory defect models that weren't gonna get sold. As you can see here, there's some scuffing here in the forefoot, actually quite a bit. And then the rubber is discolored all the way here in the rear foot. Nothing structurally wrong with these shoes, except for the fact of the cosmetics. I don't really care that much because I'm reviewing them for performance, but that's how I was able to get these a little bit early and for a little bit cheaper. Now, starting off in the uppers, what I like most about the 11s is they have these areas of bunting and padding in them here. It is just foam here, right here in the uppers here, but as you can see, they've got these panels in between where the shoelace eyelets go, and those almost kind of compress around your foot, give you a little bit more of a molded fit in these. They're pretty bulky uppers, but the fact that there are individual pads in there almost give it like a memory foam type fit around your foot, which I really liked, especially me with a sprained ankle on the left side, which I'll talk about in a minute. It really did make me feel a little bit more harnessed in there, a little more compression, a little more comfort. And the other thing I love about the Air Jordan 11 uppers is you do get paneling that goes continuous all the way around the shoe. I know this is kind of what makes up the most aesthetically pleasing part of it, but performance-wise, it actually still works. You can see it's sewed in here in the rear foot, but that paneling makes the whole upper act as one unit. So it does give a lot better containment than a lot of other shoes that are being made right now, even this year. When you're in these, you do feel super locked into them, and you do get a lot of side-to-side stability just because anytime you move the shoe back or forth side to side, it's the whole shoe grabbing you, not just one panel of foxing on one side or the other. And on the upper durability test, the Dremel 10 seconds highest grit sandpaper, I mean, yeah, the Dremel does bite right through this. It doesn't get all the way through the uppers, but this toe drag guard is meant more for aesthetics, that sheen layer. So, you know, it does look nice. The waxiness of it looks really nice. And on an indoor court, I think it'll slide a little bit better if you are gonna play in these on an indoor court. I don't think you'll get too bad of a durability profile, but these will wear down a lot quicker than a lot of other shoes. But I will say the one thing about the uppers I wish that more companies would continue doing is they just have such fat padding here in the tongue. I mean, it feels so good when you lace these down. A lot of comfort, a lot of security bunting under there. So, you know, a lot of companies now are going thinner and thinner and thinner with the tongues, and I just personally like this more just for comfort as well as security. And getting into the midsole teardown, this is one of my favorite kind of feeling underfoot setups out there. You do have that air strobel unit or air sole unit underneath of your foot, but you also have a very thick strobe board under here too. So you actually are getting a little bit more plush feeling straight underneath your foot, because underneath of that is pretty stiff EVA Phylon, and then under that is that carbon fiber shank with two fingers that go all the way into the forefoot to create that springboard leaflet up there. So you are getting a lot of bounce and pop, but also these are pretty plush feeling underfoot, even for something like a retro shoe. And testing this midsole setup on the jump height test, I do have to caveat this. If you aren't following me on Instagram, you might not know, I did suffer a pretty heinous ankle sprain about 3.5 weeks ago, and this is my first set of shoes I'm testing back. You can see the ankle brace I have on. So, I mean, I was a little bit trepid doing this test. However, you know, the jump height test, I am serving a tennis ball on it, and so I'm not doing as much upper body lifting, right? I'm trying to isolate the lower body. So I still got 38 centimeters on these, which I thought was pretty darn good for me, really not using my left foot all that much. So it was mostly pushing off on my right. And so even getting that 38 centimeters off the jump on this, I still think was really good and shows you the power of that springboard leaflet in the forefoot, being able to take pressure off of that kind of painful limb, my left limb, and I was still able to pop up off that with really little to no pain. But by far my favorite part of the Air Jordan 11 is the outsole tread. I love the combination of really wide, fat, translucent rubber with all these wavy break points here in the middle of the shoe, mixed with that really narrow herringbone right where you'd need to pivot, get a little more nimble footwork. Because you're getting the combination of really wide surface area contact, but also really kind of gritty, nimble herringbone type contact. So you're getting the best of both worlds, especially on an indoor court. I found these to be #1, absolutely silent on an indoor court and grabbing a lot better than some brand new shoes out there do too. Especially also with a little more anatomic shape of the rubber here, kind of get a little more of an outcropping here underneath your big toe joint, as well as over here underneath your fifth metatarsal. Also, the lateral flange is twofold. You get one up here in the toes, as well as one right here in the midfoot. So you're getting a lot of side-to-side stability, something I really appreciated being in an ankle brace and not really trusting myself as much. I found that the containment on these, just from the rubber alone, was just absolutely tremendous. And looking at these on the shuttle test, I did do these on an indoor hardwood court. It just felt a little bit better, and I was still a little bit trepidate intrepid. Came in at 14.80 seconds, but honestly, I didn't think it was all that bad considering the circumstances I was in. And I do think I might try to get another pair of these later on down the road and retest these on a, two really good limbs. Because underfoot, I really felt these were performing just as good as any other shoe I've been testing this year. But if you look at these on the outsole durability test, the Dremel 10 seconds highest grit sandpaper and the red dyed rubber, a little over 1 millimeter of damage, and the translucent rubber, about 1 millimeter of damage. The durometers are actually pretty high, 13.4 for the red and 16 for the clear, so it's still decent. It's just that their resistance to abrasion just isn't there like some other harder compound rubbers. So if you are going to use these to play, I would just keep them on an indoor court, and if you are just kicking around in them, they should be just fine. But getting into the fit of the 11s, I did not get the EP version. It didn't say it was EP, and it was still pretty accommodating for my foot, narrow, medium, and wide. I think it can just go true to size if you want a 1-to-1 fit. If you want a little more comfort near a 2E, I would just go up a half size. You should be fine. I had 0 cramping, 0 break-in. The only thing that I had break-in with was the side that I had my ankle brace on. The seam where the synthetic materials meet back here did start to dig into that area, kind of push the ankle brace into me. My right side had no problems with that, but that's the only spot, kind of that heel is going to give you a little bit of break-in. I think if you wear a thick pair of socks, you should be just fine. But if you are someone that suffers from heel pain, ball of foot pain, and especially if you just want a shoe for casual wear, if you're looking to get a retro Jordan, I mean, these are great. I mean, the air sole on them is super plush, the strobo board is really thick, and even the removable insole on these is really kind of nice and rubbery. It does feel pretty resilient. So if you are looking in the retro line for something for a little bit more of a snake bitten bottom of your foot, these are actually pretty good. And as someone that's just come back from an ankle sprain, I can say these did feel ultra secure on my ankle. So if you are an ankle sprainer, are looking for a shoe with really good lateral stability, I had really good success in these, especially for my first time out. But getting into the playability, I can see why these were such a popular shoe, especially when the time they came out. They really were ahead of their time, especially for the lateral containment and, like I said, more anatomic type shape of the outsole tread. I will say, if you are someone that, number one, either plays in the paint, is used to kind of getting bumped around or really kind of getting their elbows out, these are a great shoe to either hold your ground or really attack someone in. Number two, because of the springboard plate, you can get a shot up over somebody else's head, and you can get a really nice first launch and really kind of blow past somebody too. I found myself, even kind of with a bum foot, being able to get that first step pretty quick in these, just the same as any other kind of new, really fast, speed-focused shoe. And with the containment of these, for someone that's bigger, has a little more loose ligaments, or someone that just needs more stability, they are good too. So I would say for an all-around player or a shoe that can play pretty much any position really well, kind of like the KT8, these are a fantastic pickup, even by today's standards. And even with these being a retroed pair, the playability was still fantastic. But I guess the biggest question out there is, are you trying to get a hit on these, or did you get a pair of these this year? Kind of what's been your experience with them? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to see the other sibling to the Air Jordan 11, the Air Jordan 13, go up against the Air Jordan 1, make sure you click in this video up above and subscribe down below. Respect your rubber and foam. I'll see you in the next one.